Welcome to Brain Friends, where two neuro nerds talk all things aphasia, language recovery, culture, and community. I am Dr. Davetrina Seles Gadson, a clinical speech-language pathologist and neuroscientist.
And I am Angie Cauthorn, stroke survivor and aphasia advocate.
Welcome to our show.
Welcome to Brain Friends.
We want to thank all of our listeners for downloading the podcast. We appreciate everyone listening, so please tell a friend to tell a friend that we are here.
And we are.
All right, this is episode 2. Angie, how you feeling?
I am feeling fantastic. And how are you, Dr. Seles?
I am feeling fantastic. We both just came from vacation.
Yes, and you are looking quite tanned. You are looking so happy. Your nails, your hair, you're just giving it all of it. 2 snaps, all the snaps for you.
Ditto, sis, ditto.
Thank you. I needed it though. It was so good.
Yeah. So I know this episode we're going to talk about aphasia, but talk to me a little bit about your vacation, and does aphasia even play a role for you when you go on vacation? And then we can get to some icebreakers.
Wow, that is such a good question. And yeah, it actually does. Because what happens is my language, I lose it when I'm nervous or generally speaking to new people. So I always have what I want to say in my head, but when I'm on vacation, I actually just preface it with, I've had 2 strokes and I have aphasia, which means I can't talk good. And most people say, "Oh, but you sound great." And then they go on with the conversation, but I give them that as a disclaimer because what's going to happen is while I'm talking, I'll start strong and then I get weaker. And then by the time they ask me a question, I'm stuttering and they're giving me the side eye like, you could talk 5 minutes ago. So I try to, so I try to get in front of it beforehand. Yeah, I just try to get ahead of it. So that's how it affects me on vacation. But other than that, it's pretty good. It's pretty good, but I try to just get it out.
Wow. So do you find, though, that it makes your speech more fluent by kind of giving that disclaimer?
It does. It helps me. It relaxes me. So I'm not so focused on trying to get the words out. The fact that I can't get the words out is not that big of a deal. Once I've told them, I've, kind of set the stage for this ain't going to be a whole lot of banter.
Right.
Or consistent banter. You know what I mean? Because like I said, I do start very strong. And, people don't know. We look like we're going to be able to have a full conversation. And in our mind, quite frankly, we really think we can. I don't know until I can't that I can't. So, but yeah.
So, so I want to get back to that, but I want to do an icebreaker really quick.
Yes, let's do that.
So have you heard of, this is one of my favorite games, 2 truths and a lie?
I have, but tell me about it.
So I want you to give me 2 truths and 1 lie about yourself.
Okay.
And then I'm going to choose which one is the lie. And I'll choose which one is the lie.
That is good. And okay. And let's again, you just met me basically recently, like in the last month or so. So that's what's up. So I'm going to give you 2 lies and 1 truth.
Oh, okay. You're going to switch it around.
No. Oh, no. That's me having aphasia, baby. I'm sorry. I'm trying to repeat what you said. I am doing my level best to repeat what you said.
I love it. And you let me know if you want me to go first. But it's 2 truths and 1 lie. So you'll tell me 2 things that are true about yourself and then 1 thing that is not true about yourself. And then I'm going to guess which one is the lie.
You go first.
Okay, I'll go first. I I was a cheerleader in college. I was Miss Teen Georgia. I just came from Turks and Caicos.
Okay, well, that tan is screaming Turks and Caicos. So let's just talk about that. So that's one.
Okay.
So I'm gonna go ahead and I'll say you are giving me Miss Teen Georgia. You are giving me Miss Teen Georgia. And in college, you may not have time to be a cheerleader because you was in them books. So the truth is where you came from, yes, and that you were Teen Georgia and not a cheerleader.
That's good. That's good. Okay, so actually, you see how exciting this makes me, right?
The smile is everything.
So actually, the lie is I wasn't Miss Teen Georgia, but I did cheer all 4 years in college. I was actually on a cheerleading scholarship.
What?
And I did just
they have scholarships for that?
Yes, I cheered all 4 years. That's how I funded my Bachelor of Arts degree in speech pathology.
You better work. Yes.
I still have some moves.
Yeah, I see. 5, 6, 7, 8. Yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
Okay, your turn. Is that cool?
That is very cool. All right.
I always get people with that Miss Teen Georgia. Well, maybe not anymore now that we're broadcasting it live, but
well, yeah. Right now that you've just told the world, now you got to come up with a whole new thing. But that is cool. But we gotta. First of all, how old were you when you won that? I want to know about that real quick.
Well, I wasn't Miss Teen Georgia. That was the lie.
That was the lie. Damn it. See, aphasia. See, I act like I know what's going on. All right, so I'll go.
Okay.
Oh my goodness. I have. Oh my goodness. I am a photographer. I worked at a steel mill, and I have lived in 6 states.
Ooh. You are a photographer, you worked at a steel mill, and you've lived in 6 states. I'm going to say you are way too cute and too fly to work at a steel mill. So I'm going to say the steel mill is the lie.
You are incorrect. The steel mill is the absolute truth.
What?
I was walking around at 20-something years old in Seattle, Washington, in my little flame retardant suit and my steel-toe boots, making more money than I could shake a stick at.
Wow. Come on, Black woman.
Yes. And listen, it was a good time. I'm just going I learned so much about steel, magnesium, iron, but I started out, I moved to Seattle when I was in my 20s with, I call him my frat brother, but it wasn't a real fraternity or a sorority. It was just, we called each other frat. But because we were all in band in college, and I moved up there with him for a while just to, get away from my folks. And he was like a big brother. And, but anyway, I moved to Seattle and I wound up working at a steel mill because they said they would hire me. So I worked there. And I was what they call a heat chaser, which means I went out to the yard and they taught me how to make steel. So I was the tester before the rebar went out to the street. I tested it to make sure it was okay from the lab.
Wow. That's pretty amazing.
It was a great job. So no, I am not a photographer.
What?
I
would
right?
think that you were a photographer. You're so artsy, and it seems like you just do all things well.
Oh, stop. Oh, claps and snaps for me. Snaps and claps for me. I will take that. Thank you very much. Yes. Yeah, that is a good game. That's a good little icebreaker.
Okay. All right. So we'll have to keep that one in the pocket.
Yeah, that's good.
So Angie, is your aphasia better or worse in the morning or afternoon?
I think it's pretty strong actually in the afternoon. In the morning, I'm almost still a little groggy, I would say. Like saying good morning or is as the same way as saying good night to my husband is I may not say good morning, I might say hi, I love you, hi. It might come out just that broken and separated, or I might say sunshine is you today, like something like that, but I really just want to say good morning, honey.
Oh, I love that. Sunshine is you today. That's amazing.
But that's where I've learned to say what I can say. And kind of deviate from what I'm actually, like I've said multiple occasions, I haven't said what I want to say in years. The phrase that's in my head, but I do have enough words at my disposal to say something else that means the same thing. But I believe they call it paraphrasing.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, naturally, when we think about paraphrasing, it's, you've heard something that someone says and you're putting it in your own words. And so I actually like that description of what you're doing as paraphrasing. Right. I don't think I've heard that before in that way.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
I thought that's what it was called, but we can call it that. I was actually asking, but now I'm saying it's paraphrasing because I just said it was paraphrasing.
Yeah, exactly. I think that that's one of the things that we want is for you to be able to say things the way they come out. Okay, so this is a good question. So I know with speech language pathologists, often the goal, and I won't get too much into the SLP thing because I know that's our next episode, but I know the goal is often to get you to communicate your thoughts, however you're able to communicate them so your listener can follow along.
Right.
So when you are saying things that may not come out the way you're intending them to, and so you're paraphrasing them like good morning sunshine or honey or what you said, how you say it. Right. Does that bother you, or do you consider that a successful communication attempt?
That's a win.
Okay, I like
it's
that.
A complete and utter win. And I don't worry about the fact that I can't say what I would have said had I had everything okay. So my blockages are not as profound as they used to be. And I began to just kind of be better at canned phrases and repeat phrases and your catchphrases. Those type of things have saved me in many a restaurant, many a airport. So, because you don't want to start stuttering at TSA when they ask you, did you pack your bags or not? Ain't nobody checking for you or your aphasia. Did you pack these bags? Well, the bag was in the bag. No. Yes or no, Mrs. Cauthorn? And if I don't have a ready yes, I'm being held up. It happens. So that's, but to answer your question, yes, it is a win.
Awesome. So moving on to, I have the topics lined up.
Yes,
So
let's go.
You jump in. Jump in if there's a question you have for me.
I don't have any questions right now. I
Okay.
should.
Okay, that's okay. So while we were away, or while I was away, Bruce Willis came.
Yes.
It was shared that he is experiencing aphasia, and so as someone who has aphasia, and we are aware that oftentimes a lot of people don't know that aphasia is more common than Parkinson's disease. Yes. But because of Michael J. Fox and his amazing ability to bring awareness to Parkinson's disease, a lot of people know of that a little bit more. And so now I know some people in the aphasia community are somewhat excited that it has been shared and people are starting to know more about aphasia because of Bruce Willis. What are your thoughts about that?
Aphasia was trending for like 3 days.
Yeah.
And that's a blessing. And when you have a disability that not less than 9% of the population has heard of, so when you say you have aphasia, it's easier just to say I had a stroke and I can't talk good. But that within itself is part of the problem, because obviously that's how it's been described previously, which is why nobody knows the name. Mm-hmm. It's kind of a double-edged sword. But now I can say I have aphasia, the same thing that Bruce Willis has. Mm-hmm. And what you're really looking for is just a moment of recognition where they can attach it to. Now, I don't know if he's had a stroke, if it's dementia or TBI, but it's something that had to go. There had to be some type of brain attack. Is that correct? Something. And I'm asking. It had to be like some type of, what has to happen for a person to have aphasia? You have to have a stroke or TBI or what?
Yeah, so aphasia simply occurs when you have that damage to parts of the language center of the brain. And so although stroke and traumatic brain injury are the most common causes of it, aphasia can also be attributed to shrinkage or atrophy in the frontal, temporal, or parietal lobes of the brain. And so in Bruce Willis's case, and again, I am not a consult on his case. I've not spoken with any family members.
Right.
I have not.
Right.
All
I
the
heard
things.
it on Twitter that he
Exactly.
even has it.
Right.
I haven't even spoken to him to confirm
Right.
that this is his story.
Exactly. So just going off of the information that I read on social media as well, I am quick to use the differential diagnosis of primary progressive aphasia. Yes. And so with primary progressive aphasia, it can be caused by that atrophy to the frontal, temporal, or parietal lobes of the brain. The symptoms will begin gradually and progressively worsen over time, which is different from some of the types of aphasia that occur through stroke and traumatic brain injury that has that acute onset of the injury. And then the other thing with primary progressive aphasia is that you'll see a lot of the mental skills related to memory, cognition, sequencing, organization, planning become impaired. And then you'll start to see some of that difficulty with verbal expression, auditory comprehension, reading, or writing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So you can't call a cup on demand.
Well, I mean, it's a type, but there's so many different types of aphasia. You have expressive aphasia, or more so types of aphasia to where people have difficulty with word finding. Which I don't know. If anyone's ever classified your type of aphasia for you? Have you heard of the anomia aphasia?
Anomia is what I have kind of figured out on my own, is what it is. But I read, I believe it was 5 types. Is that correct?
Ooh, I think it's more. I think it's at least 8 types. So we have anomia, Broca's, transcortical motor, transcortical sensory, Wernicke's, conduction aphasia, and then you get into your primary progressives, mixed aphasia. So that's 7. Oh, and then there's one more that you don't see a lot, but it's when there's damage to the thalamus. And I think they might call it, don't get me to mispronouncing it.
What we not going to do.
So there are a couple of different types. And again, they're all classified depending on your areas of strength and your areas of weakness. And the other thing that often happens is people can move through the aphasia cycles. And so they might go from real severe aphasia, maybe like Broca's, to where they're not really able to produce any language or understand, but with therapy start to get better. And then now they might be able to understand language better, which would then move them to a different level of aphasia.
Right. I think when I asked about the different types of aphasia that I would fall into, anomia, and I realized I didn't fully fit into Broca's or Wernicke's. But one thing I did find when I went to a support group at McGee Hospital in Philadelphia, and we were playing, it was like game day, and we were playing Jeopardy. And we had 2 teams, and they couldn't figure out what to name the teams. So I suggested name one team Wernicke's and one team Broca's.
I love it.
Thank you. But I was shocked at how many of my co-aphasians did not know the difference. And even the nurse, not the nurses, the speech pathologists that were running it were looking at me like, oh, look at you, you know the 2. And I'm like, and the reason she gave me was they don't really classify anymore. It's just aphasia. And that's been the norm, to just do aphasia. You don't have a certain type anymore. Either you have aphasia or you don't. And I'm like, all right, I mean, it's not my call. So I was like, okay, if that's what you guys decided to do. But I did find it, it's always less or more, because it doesn't matter what kind you have. Aphasia is aphasia.
Yeah.
And we're all at different points on the scale, day to day and hour to hour. It's not even which is why you don't use the classifications, because one minute I can be, what do you say, anomic? And the next one, I'm giving you Wernicke's energy. I'm giving you way Wernicke's. I'm giving Broca's energy right now. I'm giving Wernicke vibes. I don't know. So this is why the classification maybe wasn't the best, because you do move through, and different people move through at different levels. So it kind of made sense to me. But
right.
yeah.
Right. Yeah. Well, we're almost at time. And so I wanted to ask one more question before we wrap up this episode on aphasia.
Yes.
What do you wish more people knew about aphasia?
That it existed.
Yeah.
That it existed, and that your the person with aphasia is literally still in there, but they're trapped behind a brick wall that they can't get to you verbally. They're still in there. Their sense of humor is still there. Their quick remarks are still in there. They just can't get it out. That's what I would want people to know, is to still include your friends and stuff. still call your friends, and even though they can't respond like they used to, it's they're still there. The heart of the person is 100% intact. That's what I would want people to know.
I think that's fantastic. Well, it looks like we're to the end of our show today, and you're amazing.
Oh, no, stop it. Stop it. Listen, thank you guys for listening, downloading, checking us out, and stick around. It's going to be great. We are the Brain Friends.
Brain Friends.
Brain Friends. We got to get some music. We got to get right? Maybe do a little hip hop. The hip hop brainiacs.
Oh,
okay, please stop smiling. That is not what we are doing. Cut.
Cut.
We'll see you guys next episode.
Bye.